bread. It doesn't have a recipe, so I'll tell you what the recipe is. A bunch of water, and today some yogurt and some oil, some molasses, and some wheat flour. And some yeast. And we're gonna mix them all up and then let it sit and rise. Okay, so here we go. So we've got our bowl, and in it I put warm water. And now I'm going to put in some yogurt. I've never put in yogurt before, but I'm not going to eat this bread anyway, so I think it'll be fine to add some yogurt. Okay. And I forgot to get the molasses out. Where's the molasses? Really? Out of molasses? Right when I'm gonna make bread with it? There's always been molasses. Oh, now suddenly there's not. There it is. Oh, yes. Good. Yes, I know. I should organize that. I like getting organized now. So this molasses turns the bread brown. There was used to be a half a cup for 4 loaves. And I'll add some oil. But we don't need to add the oil at the beginning. Yeah, let's not do that now. Okay, we'll stir this around. It'll make it all brown. I used to make bread every Monday, 4 loaves, when Virginia and Ben were small. It'll all get mixed together later. Okay. I used to have a wheat grinder, and my own wheat make a lot of noise when I made bread. Okay, and then you add just a cup at the beginning. And you add a tablespoon of yeast. Measure it on your hand, a tablespoon, so you know how big that is. So you don't have to get a spoon out every time. Okay. Oops. So this first part you can do with a whisk. A good Enna made yesterday. Okay, whisk, whisk, whisk. Enna is Vietnamese, and so we eat really amazing food while they live here. Hi, Spicy. Okay, we can add more. So what you do is you add a cup at a time. You know how much a cup is, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. So what we're doing here is we're going to make a big mud, a thick beatable mud, and then we're going to beat it 100 times. Now, this is sort of the Tassajara bread recipe. Oh, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hi, Spicy. That's really nice. I appreciate that. Thank you. Amazing person, eh? You're so kind. You have a great day. Have you been watching my Minecraft videos? Since you're a gaming person. But they're not very amazing. They're just kind of calm and wandering around doing stuff. Like homesteading. That's so cool. Okay, I think we can probably add another cup and it'll still be beatable. This is called the sponge. So the first thing we do is we're mixing up the sponge. And you beat it 100 times. I lost count because I read that from Tyler. Hi, Tyler. Nice to see you. Yeah, I decided I would try making bread. Haven't made bread in years. But bread now is ridiculously expensive. $5 a loaf or something outrageous. I don't know if I got to 100 yet. So you can see how it's starting to get, it's developing the gluten, which is the sticky that holds it together, the stretchy. Okay. You should try and take clean all of your tools into the dough all the time. Otherwise it'll be really hard to get off and you lose it. Okay, so now we do what is called proofing it. Okay, so we'll turn the oven on and then off. And we'll turn it on, bake, start, and then we go down to 170 or something. Whatever is the lowest setting. Okay, and then we'll put it in the oven. And we'll let it sit there until it rises. And then that will probably take about 15 minutes. So I think I'll stop the video and start again. In the meantime, I think I'm gonna chat with you, but I'm gonna leave this and start a new one. Hi, Dino. Kimba went missing. Hey, Mongo. Are you wet? You want me to wipe you off? Hey, Mongo, kitty kitty. We've gone to eat. We had a flood in here Lots of damage from years ago, so we have to redo the floor. Hi, I put my hair in there so it wouldn't do the tie there. Good morning, Nancy. Are you making bread and not that stolen bread from Christmas? Yes, making whole wheat bread. I used to make this bread for years, every Monday, and I would pour in. I had a huge bread bowl. I can't find my bread bowl. I saw it the other day, and I have no idea where I saw it. Has to be in a cupboard big enough for it. But these are not cupboards big enough for it in the kitchen, except the coat cupboard. But it's not in there. I don't know. I was cleaning out the sunroom the other day, and it's not. I thought I might have seen it in there. I looked and I couldn't find a place big enough for it. I couldn't find it. Anyway, so I took this big bread bowl. Hi, 5 people. Wow, 5 people. That's cool. So I took this great big bread bowl and I used to put water in it. It was probably about 8 cups of water or something. Or maybe it was 6 cups of water. And it didn't really matter because you just add flour until it gets thick. So if it's 4 cups, it ends up with less flour. If it's 8 cups, it ends up with more. You don't really have to measure. But it's about a tablespoon of yeast per loaf. No, about a half a tablespoon for a loaf, because I used to use 2 tablespoons for 4 loaves of bread. And you have to have warm water, and you have to have a sweetener. So you can use sugar or honey or molasses. I always liked using molasses because molasses has a lot of iron. It's quite good for you. Okay, so now in this recipe, after you start with a sponge, the reason to start with a sponge and not just go all the way to filling it up with flour until it's really thick and you can knead it, and it comes away from the sides of the bowl as you continue to add flour with a wooden spoon, always stirring around the edge. The reason you do this is because the sponge develops not the sponge, but the gluten, which is the stretchy stuff, which holds breads together. It's the difference in cake, which is all just separate. You can crumble up cake if you wanted to, or cookies, you can crumble that up. But the yeast makes it stick together. You haven't seen any treadmill videos lately. I know. I was thinking of that today. I should start on the treadmill again. Can you believe I'm 70? I mean, just say that. Say to yourself, I'm 70. Doesn't it freak you right out? 70? 70? What happened? I was 20. I was 30. I was 40. Kind of freaked me out when I turned 40, and 50 was quite the thing, and then 60 was like eye-opening. No! 70? I looked on the internet, and it's like 70-year-old woman does this, it's like, whoa, 70-year-old woman. I'm just still myself. I'm just still me. It's just that I've been me for longer. Anyway, and my body, I'm learning the anatomy lessons now. But we're not on to that. We're on to bread making. Okay, so you start with water, and you add molasses, and then you add flour, and then you add yeast. It's very important that your yeast can work. So you don't have to check your yeast and put it in the water and make it rise in a little cup first. You don't have to do that. If you get the non-instant yeast or the instant, non-instant or instant, anyway, you keep it in the freezer. Yeast has to be frozen. If it's not frozen, it has a very short shelf life. So when you're buying your yeast, if you're buying it off the shelf in the grocery store, Fleischmann's yeast or something, are there more companies than just one? I've never heard of any kind of yeast but Fleischmann's. Anyway, if you're getting it off the shelf, there's a good chance that it's not going to work, especially those little packages. Sometimes they're very fresh, but it depends on the turnover, right? So you have to check the date. And if the expiry or best before date is a long way away, you might be okay. It might be really fresh. but keep it in the freezer because it won't keep in your cupboard. I don't know why, but that's why bread doesn't work. Also, if you make bread and it falls apart, then it hasn't been, the gluten hasn't been developed enough. I guess it's now 170. Anyway, so we'll go back and look at that in a minute, and when it rises, then we'll be ready. You turned 59 on Wednesday. Oh, that big number is ahead of you, isn't it? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's really, it's quite, I think I knew you when you were 57. You haven't been coming over to see my Minecraft videos. I've had a problem with my leg, and I stopped taking caffeine pills, or just even a little bit of a caffeine pill, because I'm not supposed to do that because of my heart. And anyway, so I haven't been doing much ever since the frost. I guess I worked out in the garden every single day all summer and watered and watered and watered and watered. And then I think I was watering mostly tomatoes and beans in my bean tunnels. And then I got so tired of watering. So I went to visit Mary Jane. She bought an island. She bought an island with a cottage on it. Imagine that. It was very inexpensive island. It was less than the price of a regular house. Anyway, where's your son and wife? Well, they're upstairs sleeping, I think. It's only 7:30 now. Oh, we're up to 8 o'clock. They have a routine of going to the cafe every morning, which is so good for them. That's their routine when they're in Mexico, when they're in Bali, when they're in Vietnam. They get up in the morning and they go to a cafe and they have their coffee there. And then Daniel's working now. He's got a really good paying job in tech. I don't know, he's something programming AI or something like that. And so now they need to work every day. So that's what they do. They go there and they work, and it helps them focus, and it's great. And we've got an extra car so they can use our car. Anyway, it's a transition between living in Asia and living in Canada. Like there's my car, too lazy to park it on the driveway and walk in. Isn't that sweet? It was raining. Anyway, let's get back to bread making. So first we mix up the sponge. Look up Tassajara bread recipe if you need a Tassajara, Tassajara, and it was in California. It started in the 60s or 70s. It was a back to nature group. Anyway, and it's a step-by-step picture book. I don't have it anymore. I always had it, but I don't know where it is anymore. Okay, so after the sponge is risen, then you can add heavier things. So you can add oil, and you can add eggs. In the first part, you could, I used to use powdered milk, and I used to add powdered milk to the water because powdered milk was much cheaper than regular milk, and non-instant was the best. Instant has a certain flavor, but non-instant is really a good milk, and you could add it to the water and mix it up. If you're going to make it to drink, the non-instant milk, you would take a like a blender of water and add, I don't know, 1/4 of the thing would be milk powder. You blend it up in the blender so there's no lumps or anything, and then you make it cold, and it was good. My kids ate it. My kids drank it. It was what I used to cook. Anyway, so I used to use that in the water, and then add the home. I had a wheat grinder. I don't know what the name was on it. Harvest Made. I don't know what the name. Something Harvest, I think. was my bread maker. I mean, my wheat grinder. And I stored wheat because I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we always stored a year's supply of food. So I would take my wheat kernels, I'll fill up the wheat grinder, makes a lot of noise, and the kids were young, you know, they had to get ready for school. I'd always start it first thing in the morning because it'll take about 15 minutes for the first rising of the sponge, and then it'll take an hour or something for the next rising. Then you punch it down and it rises for another hour until it's double. That's the ticket. And then after the second rising, always in the oven on 170 degrees. You don't have to cover it. You just put it in there and it rises really well, unless you have a very warm, moist house. Now it rises differently according to your elevation and according to the humidity. Interesting, eh? And I don't know what those details are anymore. But you just go with it. You just go with the flow. So you do the sponge, then you add things like oil and eggs. I used to add 4 eggs and a half a cup of oil to my big bowl full of it. Oh, the time changes tomorrow morning. Okay, so let's see. So then you mix that up, and once you've added, after this first rising of the sponge, you use a wooden spoon and you go around the edges and you fold it. And you don't ever go straight through anymore because you're trying to develop long gluten. So you don't want to cut through it. So you go around the edges and you just keep going. And you pour 1 cup of flour on it, and then you mix it up until it's gone. Then you do another cup, and you just do that until it's just a bit sticky, but not really. And then it'll all hold together. When it all holds together like that, and you dump it out on a clean surface. And I used to put a bed of flour on the surface, and then I would dump it onto that, and then I would just knead it in. And it'll only take as much flour as it can hold, right? And then it won't hold anymore. So it doesn't matter if you have too much flour there, because it's all according to how much water you started with in the beginning. So it's very flexible. You don't have to have it's very easy to make bread. It's really easy. It's just you have to be home all day, or for a lot of the day. I have to run an errand, and so while I run the errand, it'll be rising. I have to leave in 20 minutes. No, half an hour. All right, so I'll be okay. So okay, so let's go back and check this and see what it's looking like now. All this stuff is out here because my shelves collapsed. Look at this. Look what I did. I pulled out a can here and it made everything slide downhill. Bummer. All right, so let's look at it. Okay, we're gonna take this out now. Let's get a wooden spoon now. You know, you can cook with pineapple. You can just put it in your stir fries. A wooden spoon. That's good. All right, this one will do. Put your yeast back in the freezer. Sorry, I have to put the lid on properly. It just lives in the freezer for your whole life. It was once a full jar. Okay, so now okay, this is hot. This is plastic. Yes. How may I help you? Okay, it's not hot anymore. I'm going to put you in this little holder thing so you don't fall in. So now let's add our eggs. I'm going to do this differently than I have been doing it lately. Eggs don't need to be refrigerated, even if they're washed. Okay. And we can add a bit of oil if we want as well. It really doesn't matter what kind. Let's use the one that's opened. So we don't need much. I don't know how much that was, but it's okay. Okay, now we're just gonna go around and add this. I guess I should have beaten the eggs first. Tries to get away. Little chicken. Okay. So we're going to add about a cup of flour at a time. It's amazing how it blends in even if all you do is go around the edge. And then you sort of bring up your spoon and turn it over and you're folding it in. It's good to wear an apron when you're doing this. I've gotten better at taking care of my clothes. Not perfect, but I'm better. I find that clothes get dirty mostly because you drop food on them or you work in the garden. So every time I eat food now, I put a big dishcloth on my chest and lap, right up to my chin. And then I don't ruin all my clothes. I don't have to wash them so quickly. Some people wash their clothes every time they wear them. And unless you stink, I don't think that's necessary. It's bad for the fibers, and then you get microplastics that go down the drain. That's the biggest source of microplastics, and the microplastics are in us. They're in every organ in your body now. Be good to get rid of all the plastic in your house. You see, you couldn't possibly knead this yet. It's a big mess. what's it called would be good for this. Spatula. I can't put you up there properly. You watching, eh? Watching, Chummels. Oops. Can't do that. Used to be a big magnet holding this whole thing together, but I couldn't charge my phone with it like that. My phone charger port died, so I have to do a power bank, or I'm not a power bank, but a... Oh my gosh, you went right in. Oh my gosh. Well, that's not very good, is it? But since my bowl for charging doesn't work anymore anyway. Okay, so we're gonna put this here. This is getting quite thick and hard to move. That bit of egg there never mixed in yet. Okay, when it's too much trouble to beat it, that's when you dump it on the table. So put a pile of flour on the table. And you can pour it out onto the flour. I really don't want it all to stick to the table. Use the flat side of your spatula. I think I should make a recipe book. Now, what you can do so that you don't waste all of that is sprinkle some flour on it and on your stuff and on your hands. Then you can rub all this off. Okay, now then, this one too. Okay, and now, this table is too low. I should be doing this on the counter. So what you do is you pull it up from the edges, fold it over, and just push it slightly because it's still very wet and gooey. Like you could have done this in the pan more longer and added the flour slowly, but my arms aren't strong enough anymore to do all that. Make sure you have enough flour on your hands. Kitty, get down. Get down, Chumbles. Come on, get down. Kitty, get down. Come on, Chumbles. Down, down. And see how it's incorporating the flour? Yeah, I do have to go. Oops, wrong way. I do have to go soon. But I have a bit of leeway. Thank you for reminding me, Tyler. I miss you. Miss you. Talking to you every day. I have no idea who you are, but that's probably a good thing. But I like it when you're here, encouraging me to keep moving and okay, so now it's taken up most of what it can hold, as you see. And the oven is still at 170. Oh, I can turn the oven off, that's right. You only have to turn it on and off. I usually turned it to 350 and then turned it off. So let's stop, okay. So we don't want to cook it. But see how nice this is looking? And then you fold it towards yourself, not quite in half, and then you, with the heels of your hands, you roll it back. But you don't have to pinch it all the way to the bottom. If it's not sticking together, you stop adding flour. And you see it becomes more sticky as it all gets incorporated as you need it. I've been thinking about making bread for a while now. Now you see it's starting to take up, it's leaving the germ. I have a piece of plastic wrap, plastic stuff on my tablecloth, which is good, so it won't mess it up. But I have to make sure I don't end up with a pile of flour on the floor. See how this stuff, you've got the brown germ, which it's no longer picking up. What time is it? I have 15 minutes before I have to leave. And all I have to do is jump in the car. Okay, so it's getting ready. You could stop at this point. It's going to end up, it would end up as one piece. Now it starts to get sticky, you see? The flour's all getting incorporated. Okay, and then you're going to oil your bowl. And put it back in your bowl. This bowl is not going to be big enough now. Just clean off the table a bit. Okay, and then you put a bit of oil in your bowl, if there's any left in here at all. I'm going to rub it all around your bowl. This is going to be too big for the bowl. I think I'm going to do it differently. I think I'm going to put it on a slab. Where's that big slab? Nope. Okay. Now we have to oil this one. Okay. Okay. Put this on it. And we turn it over so the oil gets on the whole thing. Okay, and then this goes in the oven. Now remember, the oven is off. Okay, and now we're going to leave it for about an hour. So I'll go and do my errand and come back and I'll start a new video. Okay, that was part 1. See you in part 2.